drinking beer, coming back from a game, and you feel aggressive and like ready to hammer up some drywall.
This is why we're not sports people.
I'm just a girl in front of a mic asking people to watch weird shit with me. Welcome to... Wait, what are you watching? Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Wait, What Are You Watching? I'm your host, Elaine Cheney, and this is the podcast where I talk strangers into watching a strange documentary with me and then coming onto the show to talk about it. But this time, I didn't have to talk to a stranger because I have my good friend, resident co-host, who's also a regular host herself on a podcast called Not a Life Coach, Debi. Welcome back to the show.
Hey, Elaine. It's always good to be here and watch really weird stuff with you.
Always good to have you. And I'm not saying this because I'm your friend, but back to your podcast. I genuinely enjoy the podcast, and I think I've said it on your podcast and maybe mine, but like I try not to listen to a lot of it so I could listen to it at work.
I'm so glad that you enjoy it. Hopefully there's a couple of other idiots who, laugh along with it too. But yeah, I mean, I've told you this before, Joey and I would be doing it regardless because we just have so much fun doing that show.
Yeah, if you guys haven't already, it sounds like you're having fun. It's totally like casual and conversation. Like it's just like when we all get together.
Except that like Joey actually knows what he's talking about, which that's just luck of the draw that I happen to have a good friend that actually knows stuff. Because I certainly don't.
And I'm actually like, whenever he does kind of drop his little fact bombs, I didn't know that.
I know.
Joey's fascinating.
We started it thinking like, oh, we're just going to talk about all this stupid stuff.
Yeah.
And but most shows, I mean, certainly not all, but most shows end up with at least a nugget or two that people can walk away with and use.
You're not giving yourself enough credit. I think the fact is you're not just putting the nugget out there for the listener. They have to find the nugget that fits them.
That's the yeah, I mean that's the joy of the show, right? Is
find the nugget
digging
that works
through all of my bullshit and find the one actual like gem that Joey drops. You
have to muck around some trauma, but who doesn't want to do that?
Yeah, I mean, like it's a lot of trauma, dysfunction, but whatever.
Other people's stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I always feel like, at least it's not like a nugget that might not be useful. You can find what's useful in your particular situation.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, Joey and I are not judgmental people. Well, no, we are. I take that back. We had a whole episode about how we're judging.
About judgmental.
But I mean about, like, things that you decide for yourself and all of that kind of stuff. So, like, I feel like, as far as that's concerned, we're relatively neutral. So I think most people can relate to something in the show and take something away. And we talk about some useful stuff, mostly because I need guidance in my life. So,
yeah.
We talk about like relationships and work and, like mental health and all that kind of good stuff. So,
and let's be honest. It's always good to purge.
Yeah, it absolutely is. In fact, we'll be talking about that in an upcoming episode. We'll be talking about like healthy purging.
Yeah, because I think even if they're like you guys say that there's no like end, let's, end this on a nice advice note. But at the same time, it's kind of like it's helpful because you're hearing other people purge and you're probably like kind of doing it yourself, Yeah. Yeah. In your head.
And the truth is there really is no one simple answer to anything. So we kind of poke around issues, and it's not like we're going to tie it up in a bow because life can't be tied up in a bow.
Right.
So, that's just true.
And since it's kind of like a conversational thing, like in regular conversations with your friends, you're not going, well, and quoting different things and 5 steps to a better low anxiety life. Like you're not going to fucking do that.
No, No, I'm not that person. I like sometimes wish that I was, but I am definitely not that person.
Yeah. Well, if you were, I don't think I would hang out with that person. Can you imagine?
Yeah, no, I mean, that type of person would give me so much anxiety. Oh my God. I couldn't.
Right?
Yeah, no, I couldn't function with friendships like that. I have to know that people are a little bit more casual and have fewer answers. Like the only reason that I'm willing to hear answers from Joey is because he's known me since we were kids. And so, he knows where I'm coming from and I know where he's coming from. But if somebody else told me how to run my life, I'd probably be like, fuck off. I'm going to go fuck up this shit all by myself. And you can just hold your opinion. Stand there and watch me fuck up.
With your inspirational memes, patooey. So when people cancel, this is when, my resident co-hosts come in. But actually, thank you. I'm a little relieved because, the awkwardness of meeting someone new via Zoom, and
as a freaking adult, full-blown adult, who already has your little cache of friends, right? It's not. I don't know how. Honestly, I don't know how you do it. I always listen to the show and I think, gosh, she's got such great chemistry with everybody who comes on. I don't know how you do it, but if for me personally, there's no way. I mean, my whole thing is awkward. That's kind of my gig.
That's your vibe.
That's my vibe.
So usually we do the probe, and you do the probe to feel people out. But this time, I want you to look at 2 video footages from Coast to Coast AM.
Oh, God, I love that fucking show.
They have great stories. Actually, if we have time, let's watch 2. But for now, I want you to see this. And I want your take on it. I want you to explain what it is, well, not what it is, what you think it is, and also if you think it's real or not, or just a glitch. There it is.
Okay.
Can you see it?
Yeah. Humanoid lurking in Kentucky driveway, of course.
Okay, so it's a humanoid, and they said security footage circulating online shows what appears to be some kind of pale humanoid lurking in the driveway, okay? And it was shared on social media. I saw it. And I'm not going to read it anymore. You just tell me what you think it looks like.
Okay.
Can you see it?
Yeah. What the hell?
You guys listening, this is a video footage of a garage. And there's this thing. What would you say that is, Debbie? That's crawling around.
It looks like what the fuck? It looks like what the fuck? It looks like a person.
You see his face clearly.
Crouching?
What? What is the sound in the background? That are they watching it and talking about it?
I think this is security footage, and they were taping the security footage, maybe, or talking about it. I don't know. So
that is fucking weird. So first of all, it looks all the same color. It looks like, those when people dress up in those green screen suits?
Yeah.
Only it looks white.
Yeah.
But nobody walks that way. First of all, now here's the thing. I saw one of the little comments on the thing was oh, it walks like its kneecaps are backwards. No, it doesn't. It walks like a human that's crouched down.
Okay,
but it walks like a human.
Backwards. That guy's an idiot. It would go
right?
the other.
Exactly. Does he know what kneecaps are? Maybe his kneecaps are backwards.
Right, and that to him would be backwards.
Right. But okay, so it looks like a person who is in one of those suits, but it's white. But here's the thing. I would say oh, that's just a person who's crouching.
Yeah.
1, nobody moves that way.
Right.
2, their proportions are weird.
It's it's small because there's a car right next to him, or this thing, whatever this is.
Small and super skinny legs and skinny arms,
head.
but with a real and skinny long head, but with a really wide shoulder
middle. Yeah.
Right? The shoulders are super, super wide.
Do you think this is CGI? Real or CGI?
No. You don't. I don't think it's CGI. The reason I'll tell you why I don't think it's CGI.
Okay.
I don't think it's CGI because the quality is too shitty. And like, you'd have to try really hard to make it that shitty.
Okay.
Like, I mean, I'm sure somebody could do it. Somebody very talented, but like, why would you bother?
I know.
You know what I mean? Like, why
Right.
would you go to that much trouble for, something that's going to say, oh, security footage in Moorhead, Kentucky. Nobody gives a shit. Right?
And everyone's just gonna be like, oh, it's fake. That's just how it is.
Yeah, no, I mean, and here's the thing. It might be somebody who's kind of like dressed up weird to creep out some people in Kentucky. That might be true. But I don't think it's CGI. I don't think anybody went to great lengths to fool the good people of Moorhead, Kentucky.
Not in my Christian Moorhead, Kentucky.
Now, here's what's interesting. Okay, so it says, first of all, why is the P in pale capital? But whatever. Here's the video of the pale creature caught on the security camera near Moorhead, Kentucky, right? Hashtag cryptid. But then, look, it says from South Venice, Florida. So, like,
what?
So somebody sent it to like the Paranormal magazine or whatever that I guess is in South Venice, Florida.
Yes.
Now, I don't know. Like, I don't personally really believe in cryptids.
Me neither.
But do I believe in somebody kind of goofing around in like a white dress-up suit? Sure. But I also won't go as far as saying like somebody's CGI'd this shit. Nobody's putting in that kind of effort.
Nobody cares. The cryptid, I think like the only thing that would, I mean, this is weird. Because it looks like it's moving very like not supernaturally. It actually looks like it's on strings.
Yeah, it kind of like swings its body from side to side as it walks, but like slowly.
And like you went all that way as a ghost and have no purpose? Like, where are you going? Where are you? There was no purpose in his walk.
Yeah. And the other thing is like, this is at a really weird angle. Like, you see how like the car looks like it's like almost like kind of sideways and floating.
Right. You're right.
Right. So like, I also think that the proportions and stuff could look weird just because of the angle.
Oh, you're right. Correct. So it could look smaller and weirder because of the angle. I get it. Yeah. My vote on that is it's probably fake, but not CGI, right?
Yeah, that's my take. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the next one is, I thought was a little creepier. You see it?
You're building this up. I cannot see it still. Oh wait. Okay. Now it's coming up. Ghost appears in background of new Amazon documentary series.
Yes.
Ghost captured. Okay. James. Okay.
So
I'm looking.
It's gonna be right here. Okay. Are you ready? Okay.
I'm ready.
For people listening, I'll probably put this video out. But for people listening, there is this is a documentary. It's a shot of guy just talking, but he's talking in front of like a forest. Okay. He's pointing. Do you see that?
I saw something.
I'll show it again. Debbie,
you know what?
Debbie is looking really hard. You couldn't see it?
No, I did.
What do you think?
I would need to know that it's not just a person. Because it just looks like a person like kind of walking,
but it's
like kind of walking through the woods.
It kind of appeared as if from nowhere. You want to watch it again?
I'll watch it again. Let's watch it again.
It just starts. Okay. It starts like right here. It starts to like appear, and it disappears.
To me, it looks like it's in front of some bushes and trees and not in front of others, and therefore, as it moves, you can see more or less of it. That's what it looks like to me.
Okay, you know what? Now that you said that, it does look like somebody behind the bushes. That's why it was like glitchy. See, this is why I like to share. Thank you for doing a weird probe with me. That doesn't sound.
This was the weirder of the probes. That is 100% accurate.
I mean, I gotta keep you guys on your toes. You've already had a billion probes from me, so I thought it'd be different.
And there is nothing you don't know about me.
Right. So it's like, what? I'm going to ask you some stupid BuzzFeed question? No. We're going to talk shit about ghosts.
To BuzzFeed quizzes.
I know. What kind of hanger are you?
I swear to God, if you were a Disney character, what dessert would you be? Okay.
What?
I don't even know what that means, but I'm in.
I knew I was a parfait. Okay, so initially I had you watching a Celebrity Ghost Stories, which we all love.
Which I did.
Which you already did, and God bless you, because I changed my mind this morning.
I'm glad you did.
Okay, good.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you did. This was fun.
Because I was like, what about this story?
The fun is kind of insensitive because it's a really shitty dark story. I should not say that. It was intriguing. I'll say that.
You caught yourself good. You're like, it was so fun.
I feel like people are really going to be like, that evil bitch. Where's she?
That one time where all of them disappeared and their families are really sad. Good
and
times.
It was super tragic. Hilarious.
Fun. What better time spent with friends?
God, that was dark.
Excuse me. Okay, so we watched The Boys from Yuba City. It's actually not like a documentary per se, but there is a wonderful YouTube channel called Bedtime Stories. And it's like narration with amazing sketch art.
Yeah, the sketch art was really it was good. It was like it was not so good that it was like, wow, this is like super produced. It felt more authentic that way, but at the same time, it wasn't so bad that you're like, what the fuck is this stick figure?
And I like,
right.
Yeah, I like that. Like, usually if it's still pictures, I'm like, why am I watching this? But the way they like zoomed, I mean, they would use the same picture.
Yeah.
A couple times, but the music and the zooming in and out, I would have to say this small YouTube video is better than some of the like full-length documentaries I've seen on Amazon.
Yeah. Well, and it also helps that they have a narrator with an accent, which I love when foreigners talk about places that I know. It's so fun to me, like just to hear the guy say Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Los Angeles.
Or like they use different like terms, like, you know, like you could just be like, I was gonna dump that in the trash, and they walked over and tossed it into the rubbish. It's like, oh, that's so much fucking better.
Well, and they talk about Yuba City like it's so, first of all, like, I mean, he talks about it like it's like an exotic location, which is common for the area. To, you know, like talking about like the like ranger stations and stuff. Like, okay, you go. Like, I mean,
welcome to this fantasy land of Yuba City.
Yuba City. Now, mind
the
you, like
lights of the Denny's slowly filter through the woods.
Oh my God. And it's not like, you know, anyway, yeah. No hate to Yuba City. It's just that I wouldn't describe it as like exotically as this person did. Right. But at the same time, like I went to England and was obsessed with their stupid fucking like cabs and buses and telephone booths. So like you know, it goes both ways. Yeah.
Right. Because I think if from a foreigner's eye, especially from someplace different, like London or whatever, all this space in of itself is very amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think for foreigners, it probably adds to the mystery that there's literally just thousands of acres of like redwoods and stuff. Like it's just forest and forest and forest and forest.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I'm sure that kind of added to the mystery of the story for him. You know what I mean?
Of magical Yuba.
Of magical Yuba City. Yeah, sure. Why not?
So Yuba City, don't get mad at me. Actually, you should go and join Patreon at Bedtime Stories because they're making your town look good.
It's true.
So it starts off saying in 1978 there was like a bunch of bikers. And when they start the video, it starts with an overview. Again, these are drawn. It's an overview of a small house, and a couple of bikers had pulled up to this like house, the adobe house, but it was the U.S. Forestry Service Station. It was like the search and rescue.
With some RVs kind of parked around it.
Right.
Like trailers or whatever.
Yeah. Trailers parked around it. So they pulled up and they're immediately like, what is that smell?
Which he described as being sickly sweet. Now, mind you, I've been lucky enough to never smell a dead body, but I can't imagine that's how I describe it. I'm just
Sickly
guessing.
sweet.
I'm going out on a limb here.
I would think it would be more like sour, pungent is a good word.
Yeah.
Right? I've never smelled a dead body. I have smelled like dead seal and that's more fishy, but never sweet. I would never put that with death.
Yeah, same.
So it kind of, the picture that it made was like, I don't know if I'm supposed to be liking what I'm smelling.
Yeah, it was very confusing at first.
Right. But apparently it was really bad that like some of them were like, let's just leave. One biker gagged, but they investigated. One biker saw broken glass. He peeked in and the door was unlocked. And when he went in, they discovered a dead body. And this is basically the start of what some people say is America's Dyatlov Pass. I don't know. I say that so many ways. Dyatlov.
I mean, you're going to get zero help from me. I don't.
Dyatlov Pass. But everybody knows that story of, these 4 very experienced skiers, or what were they? Were they skiers?
I don't know. I mean, they were like outdoors people, like they were adventurers.
They were going to go up this hill with a lot of snow in it.
They were out there on purpose. In the outdoors.
That about sums it up. This is the difference between outdoors people and non-outdoors people. If I'm outdoors, most likely it's not on purpose.
Yeah, I'm an indoor type of gal.
Yeah, I mean, a beach, sure.
Oh, beaches don't count. And nothing like, and even camping or outdoors doesn't count if like your goal is to relax.
Right.
These people were like working,
challenging themselves.
Yeah. Oh, barf.
Gross. So anyways,
but
not
that
to
is
laugh
not what the Yuba City Boys were doing.
No,
that is what they were doing.
No. So those guys disappeared without their trace, but these boys start off differently. So they start off February 24th, 1978. So Gary Dale Mathias was being picked up by his friends because the plan was to go
really
to
quickly.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No.
Hate to interrupt.
Go
I'm
ahead.
gonna. Okay, so I told you before this that I forgot their names, but just so I'm going to ask for clarification, as maybe some of our listeners are.
Oh, see, that's good.
Gary Dale Mathias. This is one person, yes.
Yeah. Oh my God, I'm sorry. I should. That would be.
I'm just saying.
What kind of crack would the mom
Gary
have been
Dale
in?
Mathias?
Gary
Dale Mathias.
Mathias? But no, it's not 3 people. It's not 3 people. It's one person, which that changes that, because I would want to say that as a mother. I would want to say that entire name.
Yeah. How could you not?
Yeah.
That would be fantastic.
I would call him that
Dale Mathias.
all the time.
Is Mathias his last name though?
Yeah.
I mean, that's all. Oh, okay. Because that's also like a name.
Yeah. Mathias. Mathias. Mathias, right?
Yeah, I would think so.
Whatever.
No, I mean, like, I've known a Mathias before, but that was his first name.
Yeah. So Gary Dale Mathias, he was eating dinner, totally excited because he was going to go to Chico to watch a basketball game with his friends.
He was like all excitingly watching out the window. Like, that was the cutest part to me.
Yeah, because he was eating and like had a big smile on his face.
Yeah. I mean, don't get attached to these characters, listeners, because they spoiler alert, it doesn't end
be a
well.
good ending.
But they are very sweet. Like I really did kind of like fall in love with these guys through this story. It was very anyway.
They did such a good job at bedtime stories, like explaining who they are. So like his friends, so Gary DeMathias, then there's Jack Anton Madruga, Theodore Earl, Jackie or John Charles Hewitt, and William Sterling.
Yeah, I'm still not going to remember any of these names. Well, there are 5 people total, each with 8 names.
Each with right. So I will explain each of them as told by bedtime stories. So Ted Weir was the oldest. He had a childlike mind. He was very friendly. He just quit his job. And then there was also Jack Hewitt, who was his good friend. And he was also very cheerful. These two were inseparable. And then there's Jack Madruga. He had graduated high school, served in the army in Vietnam, discharged after a medical eval, not officially diagnosed as mentally disabled, but people around him considered him slow. But he did have his driver's license, so he's the driver.
Really quickly, can I just say, one of the things that did kind of bug me about this is like, these are all grown men. All of them. They're all grown men. Some of them have intellectual disabilities. One of them, which you'll get to, has a mental illness. But I don't particularly like the way they were infantilized. And even just calling them the boys of Yuba City.
Yeah.
Like, it's a little condescending. They were men. They were full-blown men who were friends.
Who some of them were in the army and in Vietnam.
Can we just call them like the buddies of Yuba City? Like that would make me feel better.
Right. The Yuba City Buds.
Yeah.
So Gary Mathias was also in the army. So yeah, a man. He was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia, honorably discharged, taking meds for 5 years, which improved his condition. So he actually was holding down a pretty good job at a landscaping service. Then there was Bill Sterling, also had the mind of a child. And that's what they said. Sterling would go to church. He would go and visit patients at the hospital and read the Bible to them. So yeah. And they played at the Yuba City basketball. They went to a college.
I remember that they were training for the Paralympics.
Right. So they were driving to Chico, night out with the guys. They love basketball. They were called the Gateway Gators. And yeah, they had a game actually the next day after the game to qualify for the Paralympics. And if they won, they would get to go to LA. Los Angeles. And all 5 men were mentally disabled or challenged. And they attended Yuba City's Gateway program. It's a vocational rehab center where they learned different trades, and then they played for the basketball team. So I missed that one, but that's why they were going to the basketball game. Super excited. So unfortunately, are you still there?
Yeah.
Okay. So they never got to their tournament the next day because they did not return in the evening.
Yeah. Which was super unusual for them, right? Because they were always in contact with whoever, their parents or family or whatever. It was not something that they would normally do.
Right.
And there were 5 of them, and none of them checked in.
Right. And they were saying that, they would have never done this. They were homebodies. So it wasn't like they're going to go, hey, after basketball game, let's go over here, because they wanted to go home.
They were non-adventurers like us.
Yes, same. So this was out of character for them.
No, I was just going to say, and they were talking about how I don't know where I was going with that. But essentially, they wanted to just go and come back. There was not there was no other plan. There was no other anything. And Oh, I remember what I was going to say. Okay. So like later on, they talked about how basically there was only like one main road between Yuba City and Chico. Like, and I mean, anyway, you keep going with it. But essentially there was really only one main road. It's not like there was a reason to diverge from that main way.
Right. Hey, Debbie, have you ever started talking and forgot what you talked about?
All the time. It's called ADHD. Look into it. You sprinkle a little here and there.
Well, some people call it brain fog, which, I mean, that's just a general term. And some people just say I'm getting old, but those people are assholes because I'm super young. So it has to be brain fog or ADHD, right, Debbie?
Absolutely. Or lack of sleep or, like a billion other reasons.
Yeah, you kind of like feel like you have cobwebs in your brain. And usually drinking coffee would be the go-to, but the bad thing about coffee is it wakes you up, but like the whole focus part that you really need to be productive is out the freaking window and gets even worse. Until, that is, I drank Magic Mind, and it was like dusting the cobwebs off my brain, gave me energy, but also focus, the good kind, that kind of happens naturally and gradually. And that's because Magic Mind benefits your body with all the good stuff. It has matcha, it has honey, it has lion's mane mushrooms, whatever that is.
I've heard so much good stuff about lion's mane mushroom, honestly. And since a bunch of people who also have ADHD have told me that it really helps them.
So yeah, that's just one of many. I couldn't list all of them. You take it for 5 days. I've taken it for 5 days, and a lot of like my brain fog, and also a lot of my like falling asleep at 3 p.m. Why? I don't know. It's kind of all gone. Magic Mind delivers without the jitters. And the best part, I could go to sleep at night because it's something I couldn't do when I drank a lot of coffee. So try Magic Mind for yourself. Don't believe my rantings on this show. You're an adult. Go order some. In the next 10 days, you can get 40% off your subscription by using my discount code. I need Magic Mind right now. I need more. You can get 40% off your subscription by using my discount code, what? With 3 A's during checkout, or go to magicmind.co/what with 3 A's. Go get it now. Later, after we finish the story on Yuba.
Yeah, we can't leave the Yuba buddies hanging.
We cannot. So the parents basically call the police. The police are informed that they never came back. Yeah. So
the police are on it right away.
Yeah, I was surprised because in the 70s, everything was runway. Oh, they ran away.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is one of the times where the whole infantilizing of them actually helped. And then, maybe they underestimated them and actually thought oh, we better go look for them.
Yeah, you're right. Because, regularly, if you have a missing adult, I don't think they're on the ball as fast. I don't think they're on the ball as fast for kids, honestly.
They're not. Mm-mm.
Back in the 70s, very much so.
Yeah.
So this was fast, which might have been good, but I think we already spoiled the ending because let's just stop with the high hopes. Yeah. Can we just stop with the high hopes?
Yeah.
So they issued a bulletin, and all these stories started coming out. Like a couple witnesses saw them at the basketball game, so they had made it to the basketball game.
Yeah. A lot of people saw them there. That definitely happened.
Yeah.
They also stopped for snacks. That definitely happened.
Right. So they got, there were witnesses saying that they were in the parking lot. They had that cashier. They bought snacks, blah, blah, blah. And so they also searched the entire Feather River mountain range around the area, thinking, maybe they did go off somewhere. Well, they found the car. The car was located on a road in Plumas National Forest.
Which is big.
Do you know what a Montego looks like?
No, I mean, I in good faith assume that it looked like the sketch. But I don't know if the sketch artist actually looked up what a Montego looks like.
I actually stumbled on it because I was looking for additional theories. And it actually does look like the sketch. But this car was gigantic as all 70s
I was
sedans
gonna say,
were.
it looked, so my mom drove a Ford Granada when I was young, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it had to have been like a 1970s, car. And it looked very similar to that, like gigantic, right? Like
the hood is half a football field, as is the trunk.
Right.
The sitting area is like just regular, but it's really long and kind of thin, that 70s thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was just like, dang, for that car to be lost. But they found it.
Right. Yeah. They did. And there were snack wrappers, so they know that they saw them really at the whatever it was, wherever they stopped for snacks. Yeah.
Right, where they stopped for snacks, which was after they went to the game.
Yeah.
So that's how we know they definitely made it to the game. Well, this Plumas National Forest is 70 miles away from Chico. And they found it on February 28th, and they saw like the snow had almost buried it, but it was perfectly parked. And like you said, they saw snack wrappers, they saw 4 maps. The car was in good condition. The keys were missing, so they had to hotwire it to drive it like back to the station or whatever. But there was gas in the tank, like more than enough to drive home.
Yeah.
And when they drove it home, there was no mechanical failure.
Yeah, there was no mechanical failure. It wasn't like stuck in the snow or anything like that. And like the fact that they took the keys with them kind of seems like, oh, they were probably planning on coming back to the car at some point, right? Like it's not like they just abandoned the car.
Right. So, and I don't think they looked to be like they rushed out or ran or whatever. Like it looked like they stopped the car, got out, and took the keys in kind of a mindset that they were going to come back.
Right.
Yeah. So weird, it's not a red flag. What is it? A weird flag. What color?
A weird flag?
A burgundy flag is up. I don't know.
Oh, God. So
there's no mechanical failure. And they kept getting calls, and people were like, we spotted him in San Francisco. And it was like,
yeah,
it was not looking good.
Had to kind of like weed through, which is why it was so important that they found the snack wrappers and whatever, like, because they were trying to figure out what were real tips and what weren't real tips.
Right. Because at this point, it was all over the news.
Yeah.
That they were gone. And they searched and searched, but then like the snow was falling really heavily, and they had to delay the search until spring, which, my God, that's long.
Yeah. I don't think that would fly these days.
No.
Like,
can you imagine? We'll just hold off on the winter where if they were alive, could kill them.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not exactly
what?
Not exactly like the best of the brightest working on this.
Right.
Like they're trying, kinda.
I mean, points for being there early, but
you also gave up awfully quick.
Right, exactly. So they stopped until spring. If I was the parents, I'd be like, no. Put on some jackets. Wait for the snow to stop, even if it's for an hour, and keep at it. But I mean, that's just me.
Yeah. I mean, well, and I have to imagine that the parents were beside themselves at that point.
Yeah. So then they get a break on June 4th. The motorcyclist, that's when they had found the body of Todd Ware. He was the one in there.
Yeah.
So they called him and they said that he looked like he had died of exposure, even though he was wrapped in blankets.
Yeah, he had like 5 blankets. He was in like it was either the house or like one of the trailers or whatever, but he was like in bed with like 5 blankets on top of him. But looked like he had died of exposure.
And they were also wondering what the hell, there was like something to make a fire.
Yeah, although, what was weird about that to me is that they kept saying, oh, but there was propane. Yeah, but the propane was like outside the house, and like, I don't know that I would have even thought to check it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, me too. But they said that there was matches and like stuff, like books to burn.
Yeah. But
like they didn't attempt to do anything. But I mean, who can say?
Yeah.
Let's see. His shoes were missing. There was frostbite on his feet, and he was originally 200 pounds. He was like shed 80 pounds, so he looked like he had starved to death. And by the length of his beard, they figure that he was alive for 8 weeks in this since he left, I guess.
Yeah. So
which is
2 months. Come on. You couldn't have found him in 2 months.
These people completely gave up too fast. Because I think if they had just kept searching, they would have saved him or at least found him.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's so sad. And it didn't look like he had left the bed. There was food wrappers in the house. There's food in the cupboard. And like they said, no one attempted to build a fire, but there was matches, a propane tank, and it was in perfect condition and it wasn't turned on. But like you said, I wouldn't know.
Yeah, and here's the other thing is I don't know if it's too early to get into theories, but I don't think he died because it was too cold in the house. I think he died because of like he probably had exposure and was probably in shock and, you know, maybe eventually got, you know, to the bed, but probably just, you know, like didn't make it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like something was preventing him from doing all those things.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, if you are suffering from exposure for too long, right, and hunger or whatever, you can get like super disoriented and not really know like what to do and whatever. And so like, I mean, it's very possible that he wasn't really in that bed for very long. You know what I mean? It's possible that he basically got into bed and then died. Yeah. Like, we don't know how long they were there.
I mean, and he had frostbite on his toes. So they're assuming that he had walked and got frostbite on his toes. And then I guess the question is, they found this place with food and shelter. So what would have killed him for him not to, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but we don't know when they found the place with food and shelter. Because there was this detail about how his friend's shoes were like, so he had bigger feet than one of his friends, right? And he had, when they found him, he had no shoes on, but his friend's shoes, which were smaller, were in the house. So like, here's my logic, right? They're wandering around out in the cold, already suffering from exposure, extreme hunger, fatigue, whatever, right? They stumble across this house, right? They already have major frostbite and exposure and whatever else, right? And then they say that like, when you get exposure on your limbs, they swell. So one of the theories was that the reason that the friend's shoes were there was because the friend was going to go out again and try to get help or whatever, but that his feet were too swollen to wear his own shoes. So he took off his shoes and put on his friend's bigger shoes and then went out, right? So if it was already that bad when they get there, again, they could have tried to eat something real quick and then he could have like, and maybe the other guy put his friend into the bed and then the guy died, right? He just died of, you know,
because he was all alone and he was already
going. Well, or he had just already gone too far. Like he had already been too hungry, too tired, too disoriented, too frostbitten, whatever, and died of his whatever there. Because here's what I'm thinking is the person who, I forget his name, but whoever it was that took his shoes, right?
Yeah.
He may have been the only one who had any capacity at that point. So he may have like helped his friend into bed, covered him up with blankets, hoping he was going to make it, and then went out to get help wearing the other guy's shoes. You see what I'm saying? So like they may not have been there long enough to start a fire or eat all the food or whatever else. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally. But also, just to even go back, why were they driving to where they were? And why did they get out?
So none of this makes sense to me, right? So like one of the theories. Oh, are you going to, should we say what happened to the other guys?
We're going to do everything. There's no order.
All right. Okay. If you want it in order, just watch the video.
Right. What are you doing listening to this? I gave you the link in the YouTube channel. Wait a minute. Am I just like telling my listeners to go away? Damn it, Debbie.
But you don't get your special form of commentary then. You gotta have both. So there was a witness or whatever who said that they saw this other group of guys in the parking lot of the basketball game.
Yes.
Basically harassing a woman, and that our Yuba City buddies went to help the woman and get involved, and that pissed off the group of guys.
Yes.
And that maybe the group of guys like followed them or whatever, and they got freaked out and tried to like get away, and then kind of got disoriented and wound up where they wound up.
Oh my God. If that was the case, that is so unfortunate. Like, can you imagine?
Yeah, that would be really awful. But like, so but this is the piece that really didn't make any sense to me. So like, they were saying that there might have been foul play because they found shell casings like at the entrance to basically like the ranger station that they were at or whatever, right? But okay, on one hand, I'm like, yeah, why? That is weird that there's shell casings at the entrance, because if you were hunting, you'd be going in, right?
Yes.
But at the same time, I'm like, it's not like there's going to be that makes no sense as a story, because if the guys got out of the car, right, then if there was really somebody chasing them trying to shoot them,
they won't, all the shell casings won't be.
Yeah. I don't think they were tough targets at this point. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I don't think that's what's happening.
Yeah.
So I think that was kind of a cuckoo. Maybe they were trying to get away from these people, and that's how they ended up where they ended up. But I don't think that they got chased to the point where they ended up getting shot, and that doesn't make any sense to me.
It doesn't make sense because, and also like, it's the forest. People hunt. There's going to be shell casings, and in like, I mean, you could easily put shell casings in your pocket and then walk out.
Yeah, and then
that has nothing to do with anything.
It has nothing to do with anything. And the thing is, like, it's not even that people just hunt out in the woods. Like, people just shoot for fun at targets and stuff.
Yeah.
And if there was a target that they were shooting at repeatedly, yes, all the shell casings would be in the same spot. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's not evidence of something foul going on.
I think the shell casings are a red herring.
Yeah. So the other people were found. So like Jack Madruga was found 11 miles from the trailer near the road, leading back to the direction of the car. So it looked like he had died on the way there, and his body was eaten up by animals. Yeah. And his body was then dragged near 10 feet, and most of his right arm was gone. Sorry, guys, if you guys are eating or just, a human being. This is gross. Most of the right arm was gone, and he was holding on to his favorite watch, and 2 fingers were missing. So animals really went,
ham on that guy, yeah.
Right.
Is that the guy that was wearing the bigger shoes? Maybe? No,
that's Bill Sterling.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because later that's when they found because he was found on the other side of the road, in what's it called? In a wooded area. They found his bones scattered, and later was identified as Bill Sterling. And Jack Hewitt Sr., the dad of one of the kids, or the men, sorry, the kids, I said. It's because it's that boys thing.
Right? See?
It's in my head.
Very misleading.
I know. So Jack Hewitt joined the search, and he ended up actually locating his son's shoes, jeans, and his skull, which it was so messed up, they only could verify it via his teeth. Yeah. So the only person they did not found was Gary Mathias. And they were worried because he was on medication.
Yeah.
So he didn't have medication. They're like, Jesus, is he still alive? And if he is, like, what state is he in?
Yeah. I mean, probably not alive.
Yeah, not alive. And his shoes were the ones that was discovered in the trail. So not Bill Sterling. It was Gary Mathias'
okay. Yeah.
In the house, and he had swapped his shoes, like you had said, for his full. But his body was never found. So the police are kind of like piecing together all these different stories. And like you said, there was one story where that they had heard that, they got in a fight in a parking lot and blah, 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 blah. And so their whole thing was like, why would they abandon a perfectly good car? And why would they even go over there, to drive in the beginning? Because there was no way to it's not the direction to their house. And so they thought their theory was, that they had gotten out of the car. They don't have a reason for why they got out in the car, but they walked more than 20 miles over rocky trails in the freezing cold before they got to the service trailer. So they're thinking once they went inside the house, they tried to look for food, try to get a fire started, but they couldn't.
I don't see that. That's the part I don't buy. I don't buy that part. I don't buy it. I think that by the time they got to that point, they were at death's door.
Yes.
I don't think they tried to do shit. Cause like that's the thing is like, they're kind of like, oh, poor guys didn't even know how to start a fire. I don't think that's it. I think they literally couldn't because they were already basically dying.
Right. I mean, that makes sense because that would be like, you would just walk in and just fall to the floor, the bed, and you'd be very weak. So you're not even thinking about food anymore.
Like, and here's the thing. They say 20 miles over like rocky blah, 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 and all this stuff, right? Yeah, but it was 20 miles if you knew where you were going. Like it's 20 miles from the car to the thing, right? But they didn't know that was out there. They were probably wandering around for weeks.
You're so right.
Before they stumbled upon that thing.
I didn't even think about that. You're right. They could. Yeah, you're right. If somebody knew it's 20 miles, which is shitty anyways, to be walking.
Right. That's already a long walk in the snow in rocky terrain.
And what if they're lost?
Right. They didn't know anything was there. They were just wandering around.
Right. So they're thinking Matthias hears. Okay, so not Matthias. The other guys go for help, but Matthias, when the other guys don't come back, then he leaves. Because they said a quarter of a mile from the trail, the officers found 3 blankets and a rusted torch. Matthias was taking the blankets for the other guys that had left before him.
Yeah.
But they don't have any solid proof of this. This is all speculation. I mean, they don't know if they tried to start a fire or whatever. Like, I would think if they tried to start a fire, there would be something.
Yeah. Like, honestly, what I think is more likely is that they split up trying to, like, find something.
Mm-hmm.
And that only the 2 guys found the trailer.
Yes.
Right? And the one guy said, all right, you stay here, pile up with blankets, try to get better. I'm going to go see if I can find these other guys. And he died trying to find them.
Yeah. Like, you know to me, that makes a lot of sense. So, of course,
it makes more sense to me than all 5 of them found the trailer perfectly fine and then just didn't know how to start a fire or eat food.
Right?
I mean, really?
We're starving. What do we do with this? Like, come on. You said they were
2 of them were in the army.
Right.
Like,
they're underestimating
they had
these guys.
jobs. One could drive. Like, yeah, they're totally underestimating those guys.
So Madruga, one of the mothers said she thought somebody looked like somebody had maybe chased them because they would never go to this trail. And they were kind of connecting it with the fight that had happened in the parking lot. But they're like, well, maybe they left because they were being chased by these guys and they were trying to hide, which totally makes sense.
Yeah. And and here's what I could understand maybe happening is like, let's say, so you're in a parking lot. We've all been in a parking lot in like at like an event, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, some guys get pissed off at you. You jump in the car, you peel out and blah, blah, and like you're driving away. And maybe like at that point you go the wrong direction and you get lost, right? I could see that happening and that is why they end up where they're at. And then if you really are lost and you're like driving around is not helping, maybe you do say like, okay, well, let's stop and try to flag someone down or find somebody, or I don't know.
Right. Like canvas the area and see where we're at, because I could see that, because it's like that way you would get off the road, because obviously you can't see as much or don't really know where you are. And that maybe if they like walk, they would see something like a landmark that they would recognize.
Yeah. And if literally it's possible that they hadn't really explored a lot of that area, right? That's probably someplace they've never been. Yeah. And the plan was to go on this one road. And I'm sure that one road has all kinds of stuff on it. And so they might have thought, well, if we just, walk around, we're going to find something. Right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Maybe there's houses over that hill or whatever. You know what I mean?
Right. Maybe we'll bump into somebody or whatever, or like a store or a gas station that we just can't see from this road.
And they were right. They found a ranger station.
They did. They found the ranger station.
Maybe too late.
Now, there is a weird story, because there was one person, his name is Joseph Shones, and he reported that night he was driving along the same road where the Mercury Montego was found, and his Volkswagen Beetle got stuck in the snow, and while he was trying to get it unstuck, he suffered a mild heart attack. This guy can't get a break.
I don't mean to laugh, but it was so casual the way he talked about this. Like, it's just a mild heart attack. I'm just gonna, hang out here and rest until that passes, and then I'll be fine. I'll just go on with my life.
And look at that, I'm being buried by the snow. I'm okay. Everything's okay. So he has a heart attack. So he goes into his car, like you said, he had to spend the night at his car. He woke up at 2 a.m. and heard strange whistling. So he looks out the window and he saw several men and a woman holding a baby. And they were like backlit by car headlights. So it was as if the car came up with, with the lights on, and these people had gotten out of the car and walked in front of it, essentially. And they were 100 feet away. So he was like, shit, yeah, I have help. He called for help, but instead of being like, what's the matter? They just ran back to the car.
Walked right off.
They said, nope, too bad for you.
So this, in some people's mind, supports the theory that they had been chased by the guys from the basketball game, that they were maybe the same guys from the basketball game with the same woman, and that they were like trying to find these guys or whatever.
Here's the thing. At 5 a.m., right?
Yeah.
Again, like I said, this guy can't get a break. His engine cut out and his heat cut out.
Right,
so
right.
Now he's forced to walk.
This poor bastard.
And on the way, he notices the car on the road.
Yeah.
And thought nothing of it at the time because he didn't know about the disappearance. But here's the thing. If the car was on the same road as the people that he saw, who supposedly were the bullies that chased them down.
Yeah.
What were they doing?
Well, and the thing is, like, why would they have gotten out of the car?
With a pregnant lady and a baby.
Right?
Your baby is on a cliff.
Okay. I'm going to go totally wild, right? What if the pissed off guys chased them the whole way to this place, right?
Okay.
And then, to be dicks, made them like get out and walk into the woods. And then when the guy called for help, maybe they thought that he had seen something and they took off.
Right. It's still weird that there's a lady with a baby.
And like, why the whistling?
Yes, why the whistling? Unless they were like, there was a few of them and they were like, I don't know.
Or maybe they were like taunting them.
Right. Because I was just going to say, I like your theory, because one of the reasons maybe that they didn't go back to the car was that the bullies were saying, if you try to go back to the car, like, we'll kick your ass, or we're going to be here and you better get out there. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like as a threat. And maybe that's why. And maybe the whistle is just like letting them know, like, hey, we're still here.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
I mean,
the thing is, like, I have a hard time believing that people are that big of dicks. Like, how pissed off could you possibly be at these guys? But at the same time, there are assholes out there that function on a whole other level of jackassery that I just can't comprehend. So I don't know.
Exactly. And think about being in like that stupid mob pack mentality, drinking beer, coming back from a game, and you feel aggressive and like ready to hammer up some drywall.
This is why we're not sports people.
After you play badminton,
yeah. So, fuck that shuttlecock.
Like you said, you can't imagine it. But like all those factors, alcohol, friends, peer pressure, they could totally do that. So the darker picture that was painted by a person in 2017 claiming to be Hewitt's sister-in-law, she gave out info that was not in the media at the time. And she thought, like, this is her theory, that the 5 guys had seen an altercation happen between another group of men at the basketball game. The 5 men had tried to help her, and there was a confrontation. She said that Gary Mathias was thrown off a bridge and died from the fall while his friends panicked and fled for their lives, and that ultimately that they drove up the mountain and got lost in the woods.
Wait, so is Gary Mathias the one whose body was never found?
Yes.
So that would fit. Right,
because then they wouldn't find his body. But they're like, well, they stopped for snacks.
Right. That's that's right. That's right. I almost forgot about that. That's right. So like, they couldn't have been chased like the whole way. I mean, but it's possible that like, did it say where they got snacks? Was it at a gas station?
It was near the game, clearly. Yeah, it was at a gas station.
Because like, what if they stopped to get gas and snacks, right? And like they go and they get snacks and then they come out and then the bullies are there getting gas too and are like, wait, you're those guys. You know what I mean?
No, I'm not. Let's reenact the whole thing right now, Debbie.
Right. Oh my God. Get them, guys.
They were pulling on the coincidences with the Dyatlov Pass. They were like, it both happened in February.
Yeah, like that, when it said like America said, I was like, what way exactly? Like, this is not, I don't know.
So they're saying because it was the same, because they both happened in February.
Russians said that.
What?
I think Russians said that.
Right. They were leaving the safety of their shelter, going into the wilderness, being separated and dying of exposure, and no one understanding why. That's the coincidences or the parallel of Dyatlov Pass, which is why they call this America's Dyatlov Pass.
Again, I think that's Russian propaganda.
Yeah. Stretching it a little. Russian yoga, stretching it a little.
Yeah.
Okay. So mental floss, this is from Mental Floss, and I'm looking at different theories, right?
Uh-huh.
So Mental Floss, they said authorities would later discover that a snowcat vehicle had pushed snow aside to cut a path towards the trailer on February 23rd, but that could be anybody.
Yeah.
They said, which may have given the men
for 2 fucking months. They probably missed some shit. I'm just saying, stuff happened in between.
Right.
No.
So they said there was also a theory that Mathias convinced the group to head towards Forbstown, an area between Chico and Mountain Road, so he could visit a friend who lived there. It was possible, right. It said it was possible that Madruga had missed the turnoff, gotten lost, drove deeper into the darkness until the snow around the Mercury caused it to stop. And then the men panicked, may have believed the car was stuck and they needed to get help. But there was nothing indicating that it was stuck.
Again, here's the thing, like, I hate that most of these theories revolve around them being dumb.
Right.
I don't buy any of that.
No. I don't think their parents would have let them out on their own to drive 2 hours if they didn't know or panicked because they got lost.
Yeah, I don't think so. Like, and the thing is, like, 2 of them were in the military. Like, I know the military ain't picky, but, you know, they do have some, like, you know what I mean?
Skills.
Yeah.
and like a little bit of to be able to go through boot camp, because I would be crying like a baby. So they had to have some kind of like, they had determination, and they weren't just stupid. If they were in a pickle, they weren't just gonna like throw their hands up in the air and be like, oh.
Right. Yeah. No.
But yeah, I don't buy
like
that theory either at all.
Yeah.
And then Madruga, the mom, Melba Madruga, said the reason she thinks that they didn't just wander out on their own because he loved his car. And so he would not have left that car. And I guess he had even left a window rolled down, something he would never normally do.
Mm.
So the mom is positive that he went up there on his, she's positive that he never went up there on his own. He was either tricked or threatened.
Yeah. That sounds more likely to me.
Right. So for you, when you're seeing this all play out in your movie, what's the situation?
I do think that somehow, I don't, like, honestly, I think at this point, the most likely thing to me, based on all the evidence, is that somehow they stopped at that gas station and those guys found them again and like chased them and made them get out of the car and run. That's right. That's what I think happened. Or maybe it was like they chased him out, like they threw the one guy off the bridge and the other guys ran in fear or something. Like I think any of those things might be true.
So I like that. I think that theory tracks, especially the whole, because one of the big problems was the whole fact that they went into this place and didn't eat and there was no fire. But if they were being chased and threatened and they got lost, everything would fit. Once they got to the cottage, they would have been exhausted, maybe, kind of having a panic attack. You know what I mean? Like, well, I don't know.
And here's the thing. It's like that part, I still think, so like, okay, they get out of the car and they scatter, right? I think that only the two guys ever eventually found the trailer. I think the one guy is either gone or off the bridge or whatever. The other two guys are wandering off completely lost. And I think only the two guys actually found the trailer, and that they put the one friend in the bed to try to recover, but he was too far gone. And then he went out to try to help his friends and died. Yeah. That's what I think happened at that point.
Yeah. I think that theory makes sense. Like, because again, for me, it was the whole, like, they had shelter, they had food, they had gas, but in the lens of being chased and then getting lost 20 miles, not even 20 miles, probably more.
Right. I think they were out there for weeks before they found the trailer, and I think only two of them eventually did.
Yeah, you're right.
So I think that I don't think they just walked the direct path from the car to the trailer, all of them, and then be like, "Oh, what food? What fire? No.
Right.
No, come on. No. What is wrong with you people?"
You're right.
That's not what happened.
And it doesn't explain why those people were on the path, right? Unless they were just randos. But that seems way coincidental to just be randomly stopping your car and getting out. I think it must have
been those guys. I think it must have been the guys from the game. And the whole thing about like, oh, they stopped and got snacks, how nobody panicking would stop and get snacks. But again,
after
like you guys have all been to like an event, right? And a lot of people will go get gas at one of the nearby gas stations. It's not that big of a coincidence that they would have run into those guys at the gas station, right?
Not
and
at
then
all.
Take off. So
I like that theory. I didn't think this was so mysterious as Dyatlov Pass at all.
No, me neither. Like Dyatlov Pass, like they really don't know what happened to those people, and it is bizarre. And they were like wilderness people.
They knew what they were doing.
Right. This is just a lot of bad shit happening to a few really good guys.
Exactly. So unfortunately, like I said, they had never found the body, and there's a lot of theories, but I think we might have stumbled on, or you might have stumbled onto a theory. Because I was
At the
trying
very
to look
least, I firmly believe in it. Isn't that enough?
that is enough, especially in this show. What are we, CNN? No.
No fact checking here.
Right? Take your fact checking and get out of here. Yeah, because I feel like that makes the most sense to me. Because when you just see it in parts, how it's being told is making you believe that this is the narrative. And you're right. You're not thinking about getting lost. You're not thinking about threats. You're not thinking about the fact that they didn't see them till later, that it didn't go from a confrontation from the parking lot all the way to the hill.
Right.
Yeah, so there is a lot of factors.
Yeah, for sure. And again, I think they were just resting too heavily on this idea that they were incapable, which I just don't think was the case.
Yeah, I agreed. I really don't think the parents would have, if they were incapable, like I said, I don't think the parents would have had enough confidence in them to go for a 2-hour ride to a basketball game.
Right.
Yeah.
Back then, they would have been in an institution.
Right.
Like, honestly, if they had been truly incapable of taking care of themselves, they probably would have been in an institution, because unfortunately, that's what we did to a lot of people back then.
Exactly. They would definitely not be driving to a basketball game.
Right.
Yeah. So I agree. I highly recommend this. What about you?
Yeah, I would. And it's very short, which I like, because I hate when they take a small story and they like super drag it out for, try to make it a 3-hour documentary.
Yes.
No. No, this
was not only fast, but it was filled with all the information you possibly could get.
Yes. It was really detailed. And
really
like you said, they kind of tried to like put you on a path that I don't personally agree with, but they gave you enough of the facts that you can kind of piece together what you think happened,
Right. Like they don't say like, well, no, this is what happened. But I mean, they're definitely like just, like you said, kind of leading you there, but enough to where like what we just did, have a discussion about other theories. And because I knew that it was good, because when I looked, I was like, I'm going to dive deeper into this and see if there was anything missing. They got most of the information. Like a couple of things that the mom said, but it wasn't anything surprising. It was kind of like just another version of what she already said on the show. So it was well done. It's short. It's fact filled. And I personally really like the drawings. I think it sets the tone. It looks scary and unperfect.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I like the guy's accent.
Yes. And and really that's what bumps it up to an A+ for me. Is that goddamn accent. I swear to God, if like somebody with an accent started cussing me out, I wouldn't even be mad.
Best thing to happen to me all day.
Oh my God, a British man called me a cunt? Please, on the wish list.
Thanks, love.
And a British man call me a cunt for my birthday.
What's that website where you can have people like record
Cameo?
Message? Yeah, Cameo. You need like what's that asshole? Ooh. Something Pierce Morgan.
Oh,
you
should that guy.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine him calling you the big C?
Happy birthday, you fat worthless cunt.
He would put feeling behind that.
He would, because he says it all the time to every woman he meets. Huh?
He's probably on Cameo, right?
He is for sure on Cameo, that fucking whore.
He's exactly the right like level of celebrity. He's hitting that Cameo sweet spot.
Because everybody knows him, nobody really likes him, and you wouldn't freak out if you saw him in public. But you know who he is.
Right, yeah. And I think that's pretty much the bar. Yeah.
Do other people know her? But you know what? I have to say, times must be tough. Because I went on Cameo and saw some pretty good people. Now, mind you,
really,
their prices were out of control.
I need to know the boots.
Oh, no, the higher they get, the more well-known they get, the more that it's...
Okay, who and how much? Give me one.
Oh, I didn't even remember. I do know that this one wasn't super famous. I think it was Jason Waller from Laguna Beach, which I was a dedicated watcher.
I have no idea.
Debbie shaking her head.
It's
idea. Who Lauren fell in love with, and he was so awful because he was an alcoholic and cheated on her.
I got nothing.
she chose to be in a summer. This was the big cliffhanger on Laguna Hills. She had a choice, Debbie, and your head is going to explode.
Oh God.
She had a choice of, she was interning for Vogue or Teen Vogue. And she had a choice for the summer to go to Paris and intern.
At Vogue
In Paris. Or spend the summer with your boyfriend at a rented beach house.
Barf. She picked the asshole, didn't she?
Motherfucker.
God damn it.
So they did this cliffhanger where she's like, she's got her luggage, but you still don't know where she's going.
Now, these are real people, right?
These are allegedly real people not reading off a script at all.
Okay.
She has so she takes the cab, and you as a watcher is like, oh my God, what did she choose? It's definitely like the Felicity when she either goes with Ben or she goes with...
Again, girl, no.
Ben all day long.
Felicity what? And no. Yeah. Dawson's Creek who? And no.
So she opens the door and you see her run into the arms of Jason Waller.
Oh, barf.
Who you too can virtually run into the arms to by booking him on Cameo. Okay, do you have time for me to look it up?
Yeah, I want to know. I want to know like the creme de la creme.
Now, I'm not going to diss Cameo because it is a great, brilliant idea.
Yeah, no, nobody's dissing Cameo. This is a brilliant idea.
Brilliant idea. Because I mean, this is such a unique thing, and it's a great gig for, actors, I think.
For sure.
So, okay, let's see. There is a summer sale going on.
Ooh. Who's on discount?
Go big for the summer birthdays with 25% off. Let me look. Oh, you just get a code.
Oh, okay. So it's anybody. Everybody's on discount. Everybody's right. Bargain bin. Okay.
So speaking of reality shows, and this one I would cherish if somebody, Nicole Snooki from Jersey Shore is $300.
Okay. I do know who that is.
You do know Snooki. I am the same size as Snooki.
Like against my will, but I do know who Snooki is. Yeah.
Oh, come on. You didn't see the show, did you? Because we would have hung out with her. I know. Because she was a fucking freak. And she was hilarious. But anyways, okay, I lie. Jason Waller is not on here. But there's a Jason Statham impersonator for $65.
Who cares? Like, why would I want an impersonator to wish me a happy birthday?
I guess
that
Jason
makes no
Statham,
sense.
I know.
I don't even like Jason Statham, so it doesn't... I mean, he's fine. It's not... I don't know him personally, so I have nothing against him. I just mean, like, okay. All right.
Why would you get an impersonator?
So is Snooki the top? Is she the top tier?
No. Let's see.
Who's the most? I want to know the most expensive person on Cameo.
Okay, most expensive. That's a great.
Can you sort by like price?
Featured.
I've never been on Cameo.
I would think featured. $249 for James Murray and Practical Jokers. Why?
Okay, I'm going on Cameo for the first time in my entire life.
Okay. I can't see. Here we go.
Blah, blah,
here we
blah.
go. High to low. Priced high to low.
Okay,
oh my God.
That's what I want.
Caitlyn Jenner. $2,500.
Caitlyn Jenner?
Caitlyn Jenner. $2,500.
Yeah.
You know who'd be a coup? Who I would remember the present if the Cameo present forever and ever is if they had Janet from Three's Company, Joyce DeWitt.
Oh, hell yes.
Right?
Hell yes.
If she could tell me happy birthday and that she loves me, best birthday ever.
Fran Drescher for $500. That's a fucking deal right there.
I want Fran Drescher. Oh my God.
Oh, Leah Delaria. I like her.
All right.
Okay, there's some good people on here for like not really that much money, but there's also just a ton of people that I don't know at all that I do not recognize. I have no idea who these people are.
I mean, I'm the same, and I think I'm pretty good with my pop culture. Like,
you are.
I know people.
Like, you're very good with your pop culture. So like if you don't know, wait a second.
What?
second.
This could be a whole other show.
Lindsay Lohan for $500.
What?
David Hasselhoff for $4.99. Don Johnson for $500. What the hell?
My God. You're kidding me.
Sebastian Bach from Skid Row, $469.
Oh,
you know what? Like the under 500 category is where that's the sweet spot. Iced tea. This is my new obsession. What have we done? Dolph Lundgren for $350.
Oh my God, you will have a good birthday.
Girl. Oh, he looks fucked up though.
Yeah, they're all pretty fucked up.
Because it's not Dolph Lundgren 1982. It's Dolph Lundgren 2022.
And how much is that?
$350.
Yeah, see, if we were getting Dolph
Andrew Dice
Lundgren.
Clay, I didn't even know he was still alive.
He was alive? Oh.
That's what I said.
Oh, Nadia Comaneci is only $50. That is a spit in the face.
Right? She is an international hero.
My God.
Lee Majors, that guy's an asshole.
I heard about Lee Majors.
He's an ass, you know what? And the only reason I know is because, like, my mom's friend, like, ran this place where they did a lot of the filming or whatever.
Yeah.
And, like, he was and so, like, we would go and watch the filming of The Fall Guy a lot.
Yeah.
And he was such a dick to everybody. Pauly Shore, $325.
Okay, here's the thing. Wouldn't this be awkward? Or is this a recorded message and not live? I would rather it be not live.
Some of them are live. You can talk to Dog the Bounty Hunter live video call for $300.
Not. I would rather just get a message. That way there's no awkwardness.
I would die of secondhand embarrassment.
Right. Because, like, you both know that star is there because they're being paid, and now I have to face the star who's kind of being forced.
Like, it's so weird that there's just this
Dean Cain
strange mix of, like, people I know for really cheap and people I have no fucking clue who they are for really expensive.
Dude, Tony Hawk is $250.
Lance Bass is $299.
Danica McKellar Winnie from The Wonder Years is $150. we can do this all day. Okay, I need to wrap it up.
Joe Piscopo. I can't.
Right,
this is too much. Yeah, this could be a whole fucking day that all we do is scroll through this shit. Oh my God. Okay. Wait. One more. I swear to God, this is the last one, and then we can hang up. Okay, you ready? Ready? No, ready. I take that back. 2 more. Sorry, 2 more, but then we're really done. Okay. You know Karate Kid?
Yes,
like the
Ralph Macchio.
Karate Kid. Right. No, but do you remember like the angry dojo master guy?
Yes,
the blonde guy. Right.
Yes.
Sweep the leg. Right.
Sweep
him.
leg.
$245. Right next to Mira Sorvino, Oscar-winning actress, for $229.
What?
None of this makes any sense.
I'm sorry. Mira Sorvino is less than Dojo Guy from Karate Kid?
Yes. That's what I'm saying.
This is a spit in the face. All right. I will let you go. Thank you so much, Debbie, for joining me on this episode.
Thanks for having me, as always.
And remind everybody where to find you.
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. So, Not a Life Coach with Debbie and Joey. I think that's the official title. Anywhere you find podcasts, I guess. And then Instagram at Not a Life Coach Podcast, and Gmail at Not a Life Coach Podcast at Gmail.
You say this every week. You know that, right? I do.
You know that I have a script in front of me every week when I say that? And I don't right now? Every week.
Anywho. All right, guys. We will see you next Friday. Until then, don't forget to review. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Wait, What Are You Watching? This podcast was produced, edited, researched, and hosted by me, Elaine Cheney. I would really appreciate it if you could help me continue to create and grow by subscribing, rating, and reviewing the show on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts. See you next week.